and he was like, this is adultery. And I was like, I don't think so. Beta Crush started, we were trying to find the band name. And we're like putting a word in like a website where it like kind of adds a weird word and like mixes up and finds you words kind of thing. We're mixing like
Band name generator.
That's the one. But at one point we got Sugarkill, and then at one point there was Beta Crush, and we kind of looked at Beta Crush. We're like, Beta Crush is a cool word. Like it's a cool like name. It would be a cool song. So it just kind of started like that with the idea of the song. Like Beta Crush is like you're the second option kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like in a relationship kind of way.
So there's an alpha crush and there's a beta crush.
Yeah.
So I guess this is a good time for me to make a confession.
Oh.
When I sent the list of those band generated names,
Yeah.
because everybody was rejecting the names that I was coming up with myself,
Yeah.
I put them in there and said that they were generated by the name generator.
Nice.
So Beta Crush never happened.
No, they was not from the band. Everybody was rejecting my ideas. Both Sugarkill and Beta Crush were my ideas.
Really?
Yes, but nobody was listening to my ideas.
Damn.
You're gonna get bullied later.
Scratch
man.
that.
You're
That's
getting
not what
bullied
happened.
later.
I'm a liar now. A liar.
No,
an
but
actress.
it opened your mind though. Everybody was more receptive.
Damn, I sound like a bitch.
Yeah, that kind of makes it personal rejections.
I feel a little manipulative, but only a little.
I think after we talked about how cool the word you came up with was,
Yes.
I think you started with the riff. Like
Yeah.
the da-na, da-na-na, da-na-na. And so, listening to his riff, I was very inspired by the Beastie Boys' Sabotage.
Yeah.
That's why, like, how the verses sound and how the art's very inspired by the beginning of Sabotage as well. And the second I said, like, Beastie Boys Sabotage to Carly, he was like, oh, fuck yeah. And I was like, yeah, it's good.
Sabotage in particular, yeah. Yeah, obviously. I mean, I don't think anybody's going to be very surprised to find out that Rage, because we covered in our previous band, we covered 2 Rage Against the Machine songs.
Yeah.
And the thing for that instrumentally, what I loved about the bass and the guitar lines were these really widely separated notes, which made things like these big intervals. Whereas and especially now metal, it seems to consist of a lot of these. Especially because they're writing a lot in Lydian mode and all these modes where there's always these chromatic movements, which are great, but when everybody's doing them, everything sounds the same. And what I loved about Rage Against the Machine was them writing these things with these, really, really wide spacing, but it was deliberate. I wanted something where you absolutely heard the space between all the notes and a really nice, clear, melody line without these micro movements in it. I really wanted, and I wanted the riff to hit really hard. I wanted it to stick in your head. I didn't want there to be any ambiguity about what it was I was playing.
That riff, I mean, I know like the open spaces, you get that Rage kind of sense, but that riff to me just screams Royal Blood. When I hear that song start every time.
That's true.
Like,
another band that does that though.
Yeah.
Yeah. He writes. Yeah, Mike Carey writes with nice wide intervals, lots of octaves. I love me my octaves.
Yes.
Hence the octave pedals. So there's even more octaves.
So lyrics is a long story. I'll try to shorten it. Basically, I was friends with this guy, and he had a girlfriend. They broke up, and then right away we started hooking up. Basically, the adultery line is because it was a weird thing of like, this guy had agreed to not sleep with anyone else after a month of them breaking up.
We were on a break.
Yeah, very that.
It was a break.
And then, like, I think a week or two later, I was already hooking up with the guy, so it was like very, like, and I didn't know about this deal until like the end. But I was like, oh, wacky. And I told Carlo, and he was like, this is adultery. And I was like, I don't think so. So that's where the line, some friends say it's adultery, but I just scoff and disagree. But yeah, so like we were hooking up, and then at one point he ghosts me. And then a month later, because I guess like back in the day when people used Facebook still, it's 2019.
Back in the Stone Age.
Facebook events when you say you like, oh, you're going to an event. I was gonna go see the Dirty Nell because I liked the Dirty Nell.
loved the Dirty Nell.
I love the Dirty Nell, and this guy introduced me to the Dirty Nell, and I was really hoping he wasn't gonna go to the concert. And I think I he probably saw that I was going to the concert, so he contacted me out of the blue after like not talking to me at all. And he's like, oh yeah, are you still going to like, oh, how are you kind of thing. He's like, oh, are you going to like Dirty Nil, like out of the blue? Like, how would you know that kind of thing? So I was like, okay, he knows. And I was like, yeah. And then he was like, oh, okay, like cool, like we'll talk more at the concert. And I was like, okay, whatever. And then the night before the concert, he's like, oh yeah, can we pretend like we don't know each other? Because I forgot I'm going with my girlfriend, who's his ex, but I guess they got back together.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, what the fuck?
So when did you find out you were the beta crush?
Oh, I found out. I think I always knew I was the beta crush because he was also hooking up with his ex at the same time he was hooking up with me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Was he?
Yeah.
Scandalous.
Yeah, he was still hooking up with her.
Did you find that out afterwards?
I knew.
You knew, and you carried on.
I
Now that is
knew,
treacherous right
but
there.
I didn't know
Friends-
she didn't know that he was gonna hook up with other
Say
people.
it's adultery by just scoff and disagree.
Well, now I agree. But like,
no, it's-
I knew he was still hooking up with her. But like, I didn't know that she wasn't okay with him hooking up with other people.
Like if they're still together and they see this,
They're not. Either way. Big mess. I was pissed off by him asking to act like we don't know each other. And that's where all my anger came out of.
Yeah.
I love the song lyrically. Like some lines are weird and don't make a lot of sense. Another weird niche pop culture thing that people might think is kind of dumb, and I agree it's a little dumb, but I love it a lot, is in the second verse. It was just kind of a goal of having a rhyming scheme, but it's also weird. But anyway, so I'll just explain it. So I wrote, got your mouth open like whoa, just call me Tana Mojo, because you felt like a toothbrush. If I'm your beta crush, don't stick your fingers in my motherfucking mouth. So it started like just with the got your mouth open like whoa. And the way I said whoa, this is very niche. So Tana Mojo, right, did a song called Hefner, and at the end she's like, whoa, whoa, yeah. It's very dumb. And I was obsessed with it when it came out. I was a Tana stan at some point. And but so whoa rhymes with Tana Mojo. And then what rhymes with beta crush? Toothbrush. And if you don't, well, if you know Tana Mojo, you might know the old meme of like her story time about a guy fucking her with a toothbrush. And so it kind of makes sense with the putting your fingers in my mouth and a toothbrush that you put in your mouth. I just kind of connect it all together. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
Stay in school, kids.
It's just dumb, but it rhymed. And I was like, when I was writing this on my couch, I was like, oh, this is sick. Big brain. Yes, rhyme scheme.
super proud.
But like, I don't know, I just love it. But it's so weird and dumb, and people aren't gonna get the toothbrush thing.
That's part of the charm of the song, though. It's okay to be off center.
Like even just like the chorus is just a rhyme scheme of like words that I was like, oh, what sounds like this? What sounds like this? Because like it's like the daughter would know I'm a find your girl and call her attractive like Snake Charmer. I never stole anyone's girl. I was just like, oh, it sounds cool. I really like about Beta Crush is the end, which is funny because the end was the bane of my existence when we started writing this song.
Yeah, we really pushed the envelope on that.
Yeah, because at first it was like we wanted to do like a chant kind of thing,
Yeah.
like a "fuck you, I won't do what you tell me"
Yes,
kind of chant.
that was the idea.
Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me.
And what I came up with, I was just like, it was giving Kids Bop. It was not giving cool Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah.
It was giving 5-year-old chant kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we brought this kind of issue to Dave at Freak Shop. And while we were recording, he was just like, what if you just scream, like, won't be your beta crush? And I was like, I don't know, like, I don't scream. I just never learned how to, like, sing Screamo Scream, because I'm not a big Screamo person. And so, like, it took a lot of takes. My throat was hoarse after that. It was raw. But it was a lot of fun, so it was just a lot of screaming. But he really made the ending what it is, because I don't think the song would hit as much as it would if Dave wasn't like, what if you just scream? And I was like, oh, of course.
Yeah, and I was the big promoter of the of the chant idea, and I was coming up with all kinds of lyrics that really pushed the theme a bit too far.
Yeah.
So I was very offended, and as soon as I heard what she did. Yep, I'm wrong. Like right away. Yep, I was wrong. It's really, really important when you're creating music. It's hard to be receptive to new ideas, and you have to know when you're defending an idea just because it's yours, and it's really, really difficult. It's very, very hard to give it up. I changed ideas a few times. Other ideas came in, and I go, no, absolutely not. And then like a day later, no, you know that idea you had there,
Yeah,
that one I recognized right away.
Yeah.
That one I recognized right away.
God